The production possibilities frontier, also known as the curve, explains the constraints experienced by society. The curve shows the economy at its maximum productive potential. Society can choose any two goods on or inside the Ppf curve. In this curve, the slope is represented as opportunity cost. The Ppf is curved because of the law of diminishing returns. This means that as you increase units of one resource and keep other factors constant, the marginal benefit from the extra units will eventually start to decline. If the Ppf curve shifted outwards, it means that there is economic growth. This is because the productive capacity of the economy has increased, and this may be caused, for example, from improvements in technology. However, this improvement isn't necessarily equal across all products. For example, if there is an improvement in technology to produce, let's say, cars, this may not necessarily affect the ability for a country to produce butter. So trade-offs must occur when producing on the Ppf. So if we produce more of one good, you're therefore going to produce less of another. For example, if an economy is producing at point A and wants to increase the number of good X they produce, they must give up producing some of good Y. The Ppf shows the economy working at its maximal potential. So if at any point underneath the Ppf, this means that not all economic resources are being deployed. So what's the relationship between the Ppf and productive efficiency? Point A in this graph is a point outside the Ppf, so it's not currently possible to produce at this point. Point B, on the other hand, is bang on the Ppf line. At this point, all available factors of production are being fully used. So all points along the Ppf curve, like point B, are productively efficient. Point C is inside the Ppf curve. At this point, there are factors of production which are underemployed. So if we just consider how a Ppf curve can shift outwards, and we know it's because there is economic growth, and this could be, for example, due to improvements in technology. How we must know that the improvements in technology may not be evenly distributed across all productions of products. Efficiency refers to a lack of waste. Static efficiency refers to the efficiency at one point in time. And static efficiency can be separated into allocative and productive efficiency. With all available inputs and technology, it is impossible to produce more of one good without decreasing the quantity of another good being produced. Therefore, every point on the Ppf is productively efficient. Allocative efficiency occurs when a specific combination of goods is efficient for society. As this is a specific combination of goods, it refers to a point on the Ppf curve, but not the entire curve. Therefore, not every point on the Ppf is allocatively efficient. So if we break down static efficiency into its two components, we have allocative and productive efficiency. And we know that productive efficiency could be any point on the curve, whereas allocative efficiency is one specific point. And efficiency itself refers to a lack of waste. So how can we go about shifting the production possibility frontier? If there is a fixed amount of resources, then shifts along the Ppf reflect the reallocation of resources. When the total level of resources changes, the Ppf shifts. By increasing resources, the Ppf shifts outwards as output increases. If the Ppf shifts inwards as output decreases, then we are decreasing resources, which means that there is negative economic growth. When resources are fixed but output increases, we know that the Ppf curve will shift outwards, and this is enabled through improving labour or technology. Thus, an outward shift in the Ppf curve reflects economic growth. But what kind of goods are produced in an economy? Goods can generally be split into two groups: capital goods and consumer goods. There is an opportunity cost in producing these goods. For example, if we increase the output of capital goods, we cannot produce as many consumer goods. But if a country invests in increasing capital goods, the economy's productive capacity can increase, and thus the PPF curve can shift outwards. So in just recapping what we've covered, the PPF curve can shift outwards due to improvements in technology or an increase in the economy's resources. If there's a fixed amount of resources, then shifts along the PPF curve reflect the reallocation of resources. And if we go back to the beginning about the elements of the PPF curve itself, we know it's curved because of the law of diminishing returns. We know that society can choose from any point inside or on the PPF curve, and that the slope of the curve itself represents opportunity cost. So to reiterate what we know about efficiency in the PPF curve, every point on the PPF curve is productively efficient, but this is not the case for allocative efficiency. And due to the very nature of the PPF curve representing opportunity cost, we know that there are going to be some trade-offs. If we produce more of one good, we must produce less of another. However, if there are any points beneath the curve, it means that not all economic resources are being deployed. Thank you very much for listening to this episode about PPF curves. Next time we'll be discussing specialization and the division of labor.